Hi there, my name is Jacqueline McNeil.
And I'm Courtney Bowen, and we're from Toronto Global, a not-for-profit organization that attracts and supports global companies who are looking to expand their business to the Toronto region. And we are absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Tania Ferreira and Cheryl Cole from Diversity Q and the Women in series, who will be discussing the upcoming Women in IT Summit and Awards event that's taking place in Toronto on October 25th, highlighting women in the tech industry. So with that, let's get started. Can you describe Women in IT Canada's history and core values?
Of course, and hi team, so good to see you and wonderful to be doing this initiative with you. The Women in IT and Canada specifically event is something that holds a very special place in our hearts because it was one of the very first summits of the series created in 2019. And we could not be happier to be coming live one more time to Toronto since that date. Now, just to give you a little bit more history, we actually started the Women in IT series back in 2015 in the UK, and that has become the flagship. It was always an awards model, and it then progressed, as I say, in 2019 into amazing regions like Canada to really highlight, celebrate thought leadership in these regions. It's so important because some of these individuals work so hard, but sometimes are overlooked. There are glass ceilings, as we've heard, and we've heard that the progression is lacking and there is not a lot of diversity in these teams and in the leadership positions. So what we are trying to do is really highlight those individuals, celebrate their work, and give them a stage, a platform to really use their voices and show everyone what they've got. And also, of course, inspire our younger generation to really see that there are professional women getting to the top in IT and tech roles and across the IT and technology industry. So we couldn't be more excited to continue that mission across the globe and, of course, here in Canada.
Amazing. And that's really great to know that Canada was one of the first locations to take the series global. And you're doing such important work with the organization and with the series. So what are your plans for the summit in the future?
Oh, such a good question there, Courtney. It's super exciting. We are a very ambitious team and we're always looking at ways to innovate. So right now we're just looking at really getting through H2 with all of the plans that we have. We have the thought leadership as the foremost focus, but of course we want to create a space, a community where people can come and learn from others, share case studies. We want to be able to do that live and virtually across the year and create continuity. We obviously want to focus on what is happening in the particular regions, but also look at ways of connecting them and having a global audience and global representation so that not only is one region benefiting, but we can make sure now that we are virtual and we have no borders in some way when it comes to working now, this creates opportunities, communities that everybody can get involved with. So we're looking to share experience, we're looking to share guidance. We want to make sure that we're connecting like-minded people and we create a hub of ideas all the way through, just from the Women in IT series, but all the way across to make sure that we implement and include all of our publications and partners as well.
That's really great to hear, Tanya. I really appreciate what you said about having a global audience because obviously there's a lot of diversity among women as well. So that kind of segues into our next question about how do you think intersectionality plays a role in awards and summits like these?
Hi everybody, I think I'll take this question and thank you so much for actually inviting us along today. It's a really good question. So we know that intersectionality is a term first coined by the scholar Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989, and it's a framework for understanding how social identities overlap with one another and with the systems of power. So when it comes to the Women in IT Summits and Awards, it's really important that while the label on the tin points to women, we look beyond that and take into account things like race, age, ability, sexuality, socioeconomic background, etc. It's bad enough that we know that working in IT, the contributions of women are often ignored. It's even more so if you're a person of colour, if you live with a disability, if you're from the LGBTQ plus community. So, for example, if you're a Black disabled lesbian, the chances are you would not have had an easy career path in tech. So these awards are not just for cisgendered women, white women. These events have been for anyone who identifies as a woman and their allies, and we try to ensure that our content is as nuanced as possible where appropriate, and that our speakers, our presenters, our delegates all come from a variety of backgrounds, because depending on how their intersectionality crosses, different women will have very different needs from our events, and it's something that we're really, really acutely aware of. So we also encourage businesses to recognise the importance of intersectionality, all women in tech, and reward them equally, which we unfortunately know isn't something that's done today. And just as a last point, I just want to ask people, don't just nominate your friends or the person who looks most like you for an award or to speak or to attend our summit. Make the effort to look around the business to see who might benefit the most from the experience based on merit. So don't just consider someone worthy because they are a woman, but look at all the contributing factors that make them who they are and has got them to where they are in their career today.
That's a really great answer, Cheryl. Thank you. I think that's a great call out as well to remind people that it's not just one identity, it's an intersection of multiple identities that make a woman who she is. So that leads us to our next question. In how do you think these awards impact women in the Toronto region specifically?
Gosh, where do I start? And I think I might actually repeat some of what Tania's already said here. There is so much rich, diverse, and untapped talent amongst women in Toronto. I hope that these awards enable women to be seen at their best and celebrated for the fantastic contributions they make to tech in its many guises, because tech isn't just sitting there coding. Tech influences your clothes, your food you eat, the environment, everything. So I want them to be recognised for that, especially following the last 2 years, from the impact of COVID, extra caregiving responsibilities, burnout. Now we've got fears over the economy. And for those starting their tech career, I hope they are inspired by the trailblazers at this event and the other women who are doing great things in the industry, such as Marie Wise at Women Talk Tech and Casey Gardner, founder of the Tech Canada Advocate. I hope young girls view our women in IT community in Canada as role models, that they feel empowered to forge a career in the sector, and that success of women at these awards dispels all the myths and stigmas around gender roles in tech. I think that's really important. I also hope the awards shine a light on the many different career paths open to women in tech, and that girls realise that while they may live in Toronto, there are no boundaries and plenty of opportunities to work on a global scale. Most of all, I hope businesses get involved in encouraging women into tech, and that these summits and awards shine a light on the greatness in Toronto tech being driven by women. The women feel proud of their achievements and know that they are helping to cement Toronto on the map as a global tech hub and centre for female tech prowess.
Definitely. And this is definitely a great opportunity for businesses to get involved and really show their commitment to this great cause. And so with that, that brings us to our last question. Thank you so much, Cheryl. What led you to partnering with Toronto Global on this event?
Oh, I'll jump in there to say, well, it's all in the name, isn't it? Toronto Global. We're global. We coming to Toronto. It just is a perfect match. No, but seriously, it's been wonderful to work with you and to become partners. Why? Because we are like-minded. We have a vision that is aligned to improve Toronto and Canada as a whole, taking it to the next step, really showing off the talent that is in the industry to those potential businesses coming to invest in the region. It is a vibrant community of people. I've had the pleasure of working with CIOs, senior vice presidents, presidents, directors that are all powerful women in amazing companies that are doing so much and leading initiatives. So Toronto Global is one that is in that group. You are looking for businesses to come in, create job opportunities, offer more to these individuals, these talented people in your community, in the country that could potentially relocate to Toronto and look for other opportunities, or work for a company that is in Toronto but work remotely. So there are endless opportunities. We want to put the city and the country on the map as the choice and the place to go for technology, for talent, for diversity, equity, and inclusion, best practice examples. And we just have this mission to drive things forward and actually take action rather than say we're going to do something. So I love having partners like that. I know Cheryl does too. We want to make sure that we do move that dial, and what better place to do it, and with who better to do it than in Toronto with Toronto Global.
Tania, Cheryl, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today on the series and about women in tech in Toronto, and the overall goal of what you were trying to accomplish. We so look forward to having you and the series in Canada again in this October. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.